Boom. Awesome. All right. Studio mode. There we go. Okay. So let me get the timer set off real quick. Start that. And then put up the there we go. Okay. So AGDQ just ended yesterday. Big congrats to them. They had the event for the entire week this past week, and they were raising money to help fight against cancer. And this year they outdid themselves from last year's total. They reached a total amount of 2.2 or
2.2 and change.
Yes.
We don't count the change. That's officially what they said. They don't count the extra.
But they did say that they did beat last year's total, which is awesome. That's great.
I think they needed just 2.2 to beat last year.
Oh wait, that's right. Wasn't but didn't they beat it though? Like I remember.
Yeah, no, they definitely beat it. They beat
okay.
it. But I think they like just barely beat it this year.
Gotcha.
I've seen some years where they just bury the previous record.
Right, definitely. So yeah, it was a pretty cool event. I for one loved it. I always love watching the SGDQ events for a whole week because it gives me entertainment to watch, and also games I never thought would be sped run. So yeah, it was a great event. Congrats to them. And there definitely some great speed runs I definitely love. Like this one right here we're seeing on screen, where it was the
Kaijo.
It was like this was a Tazbot.
This is a Taz? Oh, fuck.
Yeah, it was like that's why you've seen some insane stuff right now. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We're just like I'm just gonna go through walls.
Yeah, it was insane. There was a lot of good ones. I really loved the Resident Evil 7 speedrun. That was one of my favorites. Oh yeah, the Cappy. That was great. There was definitely some other ones I really enjoyed watching. Actually, I actually liked the last one, the Breath of the Wild run. I tuned in for like the second half because I wasn't gonna sit there for the entire time, but it was fun to watch for sure.
I actually watched almost the entirety of that. That was actually really interesting to watch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was really cool. I definitely liked the way that he would get across the map with the was it tree? It was a tree, and it was like some other objects that we used to launch himself.
Yeah, the tree rockets, and he'd use boulders and chests and bases.
Yeah. It was really cool to see that. It was really cool to see just interesting tech overall in that game, and how he would get to from one end to the other. But also like explain like, hey, this like area where like the developers want you to kind of figure out, and he like just puts a bomb there and it's like explodes and it gets through. It's like, oh, you could do that. So like yeah, it was really cool. Like Breath of the Wild was another one I really liked. The Mega Man 1, 2, 3 race was good. I love that. What for you, Alex? Which ones did stood out for you?
Well, Breath of the Wild definitely stood out for me. That was a huge one for me. I've been playing Breath of the Wild. I still am playing Breath of the Wild on my Switch, and it's a really interesting game. So watching him use all those mechanics that they put in ways that I had never even thought to try and use them was really interesting. I'm a really big fan of like the Super Mario speedruns, just because those guys, like those speedruns have been around for a long, long time. They've been optimized really, really well, and every now and then someone comes up with like, we can save like a second and a half if we do this. But it's always really fun to watch them do that because of the amount of skill you need to have to be able to pull those runs off. Like a lot of those jumps are like literally pixel perfect, and if you're not right on it, that's it.
Yeah, you had to be very precise when it comes to speedrunning. And I think there was a prime example was it was actually in the Legend of Zelda speedrun where like he was trying to get past the forest and he was like a couple pixels off. Like he said, he needs to be to the right a little bit so he won't be.
Oh yeah, he was. It was the forest. He launched himself with a tree or off of a tree into the air and was trying to glide over the forest so he wouldn't get into the load. And apparently, there's only a certain path you can take for it, and he was slightly to the left of where he needed to be, so he ended up loading in and had to run through the entire forest. the Lost Forest.
Yeah. Cost him some time. Like there was definitely some moments where like he was like he wasn't successful in that run. But overall, like the whole event
He was only 3 minutes off the estimated time.
I thought it was like a minute off.
No, it was like 3 minutes, or 2 minutes. No, 2 minutes. 2 minutes and change.
Gotcha.
Like he was supposed to be like 3 hours and 57 minutes. He ended at 3 hours and 59.
Mm-hmm.
So like he got real close to what the estimated time was.
Gotcha. Yeah. The run was really awesome. I really enjoyed the Legend of Zelda speed run.
Yeah.
The Mega Man blocks are always fun to watch. Mega Man X specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that game is so fun to watch. Like, oh man, it was pretty fun. It was pretty fun to watch. Big John and Caleb were on the mics, and they were getting the crowd into it. It was really hype. In general, like the whole event was awesome. It is definitely a really awesome thing they're doing, and they definitely raised a lot of money this year.
Oh yeah, and the one thing I love too is they make it so clear too. They're like, hey, look, if you have any interest in whatsoever in learning to speedrun this, here's everything you need to know to go and become a speedrunner, and then you can possibly come out here and do a GDQ.
Yeah, I love that. I love the fact that they tell everybody like, hey, if you're interested in speedrunning this game, we're on Discord, we're on the site, yada yada yada.
Yeah,
it's
here's
really
our
cool.
website, here's our Discord, here's here's the best ones to get started with. Here, like they give you a ton of information.
Yeah, and I love it. One other thing I do want to point out, because like it got me thinking like I could possibly speedrun this. Was the teaching segment of the speedrun where he I forgot. It was Dark something. I want to say Dark Man, but I forgot his tag. But basically, he was teaching another speedrunner of a completely different game he has never speedrun before, and how to beat it. And it was kind of a live demonstration of like what exactly would go through the mind of how would you speedrun. In this instance, it was Strider, the original NES.
Mm-hmm.
And he would go into like, okay, so these are the tricks to pull off this trick. It's called Zip. And then just kind of guide him through like, beating the game within like 10 minutes. I saw that and I was like, man, I might just do that for a cool party trick. So it is really cool. It's really awesome. What I love about the speedrunners is like they really digest their game, and they definitely love to, also help others who want to get into it as well.
Definitely. Yeah, and it's a great cause too. And GDQ, they do it twice a year, unless they have an emergency one. I think last year they did an emergency one for Harvey.
Yeah.
But usually the two big ones that they normally do, there's the one they just finished, which is AGDQ, and that is for the Prevent Cancer Foundation. And the other one that they do, it's SGDQ. It's the summertime, and that one is for Doctors Without Borders. Both of them, I mean, honestly, if you ever go back, go check out their Twitch. Like they have all of the VODs on there. I think they all have them split up as well by like different categories and stuff like that. But if you check it out, you can actually see, these guys raise a lot of money. They usually average no less than $1 million for whatever benefit they're going for. Mm-hmm. And that's a huge outpouring from our community, from their community. And you know what? That just goes to show everyone, growing up, it's like, oh, video games, what are they going to do? They're useless. It goes to show, hey, these things are actually good, and it actually brings people together for a good cause.
Definitely. All right, moving on to our next topic. And this one to me, as I was going through the